everybody, it's Lisa at the Tulsa Zoo here for another Tour Tuesday, and today we're going to talk about everything to do with the continent of Africa and the animals that live there. There are a lot of different types of climates in Africa, a lot of different biomes, including savanna and rainforest and desert and some woodlands and shrublands, and there's a little bit of everything going on. So we'll start with some of our savanna animals, the grassland animals, and talk about our white rhinos. So at the Tulsa Zoo, we have one male and one female white rhino. And you might notice first off that even though the name white is in their name, they aren't actually white. They're more of a gray or a brownish gray color. And some people think that the name white actually came from a native tribe language for the word wide to do with their mouths. So unlike black rhinos, they don't have that top pointy lip that can grab things and root around. They have more of a square shaped lip. And they have those great horns, which Gabby already talked about yesterday in our introduction to this week, but they also have really thick skin, so they kind of look armored, and that's because that thick skin is about 3 times thicker than most mammals. That doesn't mean that their skin isn't sensitive though. They have to coat that skin in either mud or some kind of dust to cool down and to prevent themselves from getting sunburns. They don't have excellent eyesight, but you might notice them moving their ears around. They can actually pivot their ear very fully around on their head, and they have excellent hearing. So right now, Rudo here, which is in the front, he's probably hearing everything that I'm saying. And of course, our female Jeannie back there, she's hearing me too. So they represent animals that are herbivores. They do a lot of grazing on grasses, but they'll also eat some other stemmy plants whenever they have access to them in the rainy season. Back there at the very back, you might see some of our African gray-crowned cranes that are coming into view, some of those birds with those excellent crests. Or you might remember last week we talked about birds and their feathers and how they have crests on top of their heads. One of the things about those crowned cranes is, and in general with all cranes, is that they do dances for one another whenever they found a mate that they would like to try to pair with. So they'll do a lot of bobbing and swooping and a lot of bowing and even short bursts of flight in order to impress each other. And they take turns, so the male will dance and then the female will dance back to him. They are omnivores, so they will spend most of their day actually looking for food, which is exactly what they're doing right now. They're looking for lots of things to eat, whether it's a little bit of plants, flowers, shoots, stems, insects, even small vertebrates or invertebrates like worms, invertebrates, or some small frogs, or even a snake or two. They've been known to eat those too. And you'll notice this is pretty open, bright out in the open, and this is pretty good representation of a grassland or savanna biome. Savannas do actually have a little bit of trees, including the trees that you see out here, and they will gather for shade, and they like to spend a lot of time gathering at a watering hole. Watering is very important, especially whenever you have a dry season, so animals of all different species in Africa will gather at a watering hole. Let's transition over to more of the shrubby or wooded area of the African plains. So over here in this corner, we have a few of our Nyala and our Springbok, and also some warthogs. So Nyala and Springbok are both antelope type hoofed animals, and we only have male of our Nyala. You'll notice those big horns on their head that are really large and twisted, and you'll notice their coloring, which is a deep brown color with those white stripes. And they use that ridge of hair along their back, and they stiffen that up whenever they see a male that they don't want to be in their area. They do get along with other males at times, and they gather together in loose bachelor herds. The females usually spend their time in a herd alone with the females, and the same thing is true for the other hoofed animal that we have in here, the Springbok. The Nyala will spend, if if they're female, they will stay with their birth herd their entire life most of the time. The Springbok also have some hair that's hidden on their backs. Springbok do something really neat called pronking. So what that is, they jump straight up in the air repeatedly in short little bursts over and over and over again. And the thought behind why they do that is that they are trying to confuse predators so they can't get a good visual focus on them when they're trying to hunt them down. Another thing that they think is a reason why pronking happens. They are trying to attract a mate, and when they pronk, that fold of skin that covers that hair on their back releases some scent from their scent glands that run all along their back. You probably are noticing some sparring right now going on between one of our Springbok and one of our warthogs. So all three of our warthogs, which only two are over here right now, they are female, and they will also hang out together in a female and young herd, and that's called a sounder, actually, the group that they hang out in. And the males will hang out in the peripheral around the edge of the territory. So they don't stay with the females all the time, but the females stick together with their young. So this sounder of females is letting that Springbok know that they want to be where they are and they should move. But see, everybody's getting along just fine now. And now she's gonna burst. So all these animals prefer to stay sedentary in the shade as much as they can throughout the day, only coming out whenever it's not too hot and whenever they can avoid predators. And they can all reach high speed bursts. The warthogs here, probably about 35 miles per hour. The Springbok can actually get up to 60 miles per hour, and then our great Nyala here can get up to about 45 miles per hour in a single fast burst. So they can also jump just like the Springbok, but they can only jump about 5 feet. So these great rocks that you see around here, they can leap over those if they want to get away from each other, and that reduces the tension. So everybody has a little room to themselves if they want. And something neat about over here, we have all three of the girls now, all of our warthogs. They have those teeth that are modified into tusks, and they use those to dig. So they not only dig to get their food, because they will eat all kinds of things that grow under the ground, like roots and potatoes and things that grow naturally in their environment. They will also use them to dig burrows. Sometimes they will inhabit the burrows of other animals, and that's how they feel safe. They will actually back into their burrows with their tusks facing outward, and their bottom tusks are the ones that they use to defend themselves. The males will use those tusks to spar with each other if they're competing for a mate. And you'll also notice one of our females is currently wallowing in the mud. That is something that a lot of animals that don't have a lot of fur on their body will do in the African savanna or in the woodlands. They are using the mud to cool themselves off because they don't have the ability to sweat, which is what we humans do whenever we're getting too hot. We sweat to cool down, but they don't have that ability. So she's coating herself in a nice layer of mud so that she can stay nice and cool. Something they also do, which is kind of interesting, is that they all go to the same place to go to the bathroom together. And what that does is that keeps predators from being able to figure out who done it, who has gone to the bathroom in that place. They can't track them down and make a meal out of them. So that's it for our African species today. I hope you guys have enjoyed our tour, and please come back tomorrow for our weekly story time. Bye!